please hit that subscribe button. Hey everybody, better suited to win the Stanley Cup this season. If you are new to the channel, Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins.
Locked on and he scored! And we're live. Hey everybody, so we've talked about the top unrestricted free agent players this summer in 2020. Now I want to look at goaltenders. So this list will be the top 10 unrestricted free agent goaltenders the summer of 2020 in the NHL. Before we start, I just have to ask that you please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new, as both of those things greatly help out the channel and are very, very much appreciated. But let's get into it here. There are definitely some good goaltenders available on the market, particularly some very good backups this summer in free agency. But let's get started with number 10, Cam Talbot, coming off a very career stabilizing season with the Calgary Flames. I thought Cam Talbot was done in the NHL after his last 2 years in Edmonton, which were basically a complete disaster. He went to Calgary as the backup this past season and actually has had a pretty good year with them. Individual numbers are very respectable, with a 2.63 goals against average and a very good .919 save percentage, a 12-10-1 record in 22 starts. I mean, he had a solid season with Calgary, and I think that really kind of stabilized his career that was going downhill very, very fast before this season. So that's good news for Cam Talbot. I think he might end up staying right in Calgary, and they might go with Rittich and Talbot as a 1-2 punch again next season. But that remains to be seen. But I do think that Cam Talbot certainly gets a job this year next season in the NHL. Number 9, we have Brian Elliott, who's been with the Philadelphia Flyers the last few years. He backed up Carter Hart this past season. And in 27 games started, he went 16-7-4 with a 2.87 goals against and 8.99 save percentage. Elliott's getting a little older. He's 35 at free agent time. So you're certainly not going to be adding him as a long-term solution, but as a solid veteran backup, I think any team looking for a veteran backup could be Elliott could be on your list for sure. And he certainly could end up staying right in Philadelphia as Carter Hart's veteran backup. Any team with a young starting goaltender a lot of time wants to have a veteran backup goaltender, and Brian Elliott could end up being that definitely for the Philadelphia Flyers yet again, maybe on a 1 or 2 year deal while Carter Hart continues to develop as the starter. Number 8, we have Thomas Greiss from the New York Islanders, going to be 34 years old at the time of free agency. Started 29 games this past season, went 16-9-4 with a 2.74 goals against average and a .913 save percentage. Not as good as he was last year this past season, but still a solid year. Good defensive team in front of him, and obviously he split starts with Semyon Varlamov. So it'll be interesting to see if Greiss, if the Islanders stay with that Varlamov-Greiss duo, or if the Islanders, Varlamov's under a long-term contract, let Greiss go, and Greiss goes somewhere else this offseason. Definitely a possibility, I think. Number 7, we have Corey Crawford, another older goaltender who's 35. Coming from Chicago, where he's won Stanley Cups and been their starter for a long time. However, had a lot of injury issues and head issues with concussions and vertigo and things like that over the past few years. Not a good year this year for Corey Crawford. While his individual numbers aren't actually that bad, it's been a struggle to win games, but that's more on the team in front of him. 2.77 goals against and a .917 save percentage this season, but only a 16-20-3 record. Still a very good goaltender. I think at this point he's probably going to be more of a split start or backup goaltender. I don't think he's going to be a guy that comes out and plays 60 games or 62, 65 games ever again in the NHL. I think he's more of a guy now who you want to start 40 times a year, maybe split starts with another goaltender, or even add him as a quality veteran backup. But I think the days of him being a high-end elite goalie are long over. But he still could be a solid addition to a team, or he might end up staying right in Chicago. Chicago's a rebuilding team. I don't think Chicago has that young goaltender yet who's going to be the goalie of the future. So Corey Crawford might end up staying right in Chicago, at least for the next couple years. Number 6, we have Anton Khudobin, who has been backing up Ben Bishop in Dallas over the last couple years, and he is one of the best backup goaltenders in the NHL. He's 34 years old, so I don't think he's going to be a starter anywhere. I think he's going to be a career backup, but he is one of the top backups in the league. He went 16-8-4 this past season in 26 starts with a 2.22 goals against average and a .930 save percentage. Incredible individual numbers there from Khudobin. And really throughout his career goals against average is 2.46 and his career save percentage is .919. So outstanding numbers for his entire career for Anton Khudobin, and he is one of the best backups available in the NHL. Another fantastic backup is Jaroslav Halak, who has been with the Boston Bruins the past 2 seasons and will be 35 when free agency rolls around. 29 starts this past season. He went 18-6-6 with a very, very good 2.39 goals against average and a .919 save percentage for Halak in Boston this past year. Another high-end backup goaltender. Gonna make any team that signs him happy. He might, honestly, I could see him doing another year with Boston. I think Boston could sign him to a 1-year deal, and he could come back to the Bruins and do a Rask-Halak duo in Boston again next season. And then there's been talk about Tuukka Rask possibly retiring when his current contract is up. That is a big unknown. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But Halak's another older goaltender, 30+, who isn't going to be a long-term solution for anybody, but is going to make a very, very good number 2. Number 4, we have Mike Smith, who, despite being 38 years old and on certainly the back end of his career, had a very nice year with the Edmonton Oilers this year, starting 37 games, going 19-12-6 with a 2.95 goals against and a .902 save percentage. Not spectacular individual numbers there from Smith, but he was good when he needed to be. He obviously won a good number of games. And he took over the starting job in Edmonton. They have Mikko Koskinen there as the backup, but Smith was the guy, the number 1. He started the big games. And I think he would have been the starter come playoff time if the playoffs were to happen. But Smith, despite his age, is still producing at a pretty high level. And I think, he might end up staying in Edmonton for 1 more year. I think we could see a 1 or 2 year deal there for him with the Edmonton Oilers this coming season. But if not, he is going to hit the open market, and I do think someone will want him as a veteran goalie. Number 3, we have Jacob Markstrom, who is coming off a career-best season with the Vancouver Canucks, where he started 43 games, went 23-16-4 with a 2.75 goals against average and a .918 save percentage. I can already tell you the Vancouver Canucks are going to do everything in their power to keep Jacob Markstrom, at least for the next few seasons. He was a high level goaltender for them this year. Unfortunately, he did get hurt towards the end of the season, which kind of hurt the Canucks greatly and hurt his season numbers as well. But when he was healthy, he was the reason Vancouver was a playoff team this year, and I do think that they're going to want him back. Number 2, we have Robin Lehner, who was traded to Vegas, went to Chicago last offseason, was traded to Vegas at the deadline, is going to be a free agent again this summer, and had another very, very good season, going 19-10-5 with a 2.89 goals against average and a .920 save percentage on the year. Lehner, unfortunately, has played for a lot of bad teams in his career, whether it was in Buffalo, whether it was with Chicago this season. He's played with some bad teams. But he's played very, very well individually, even on those bad teams, and we see that in his save percentage numbers. And I think this might finally be the summer where somebody goes and makes Robin Lehner a long-term starting goaltender. Maybe not a 7-year deal like we saw Bobrovsky get or anything like that, but on a 4 or 5-year deal, Robin Lehner might finally get a long-term contract as a starting goaltender this summer. And I think he's going to live up to it. He's become a very, very good goaltender and somebody who consistently, especially over the past couple years, has put up incredibly good individual numbers with the New York Islanders last season and then splitting with Chicago and Vegas this season. And finally, that brings us to number 1. You guys probably know it's the only big-name free agent goaltender I haven't talked about yet. Braden Holtby from the Washington Capitals, who had a downright bad season this year with Washington. A 3.11 goals against average, an 897 career or save percentage this season, which is way worse than his usual career numbers, which is a 2.53 goals against and a 916 save percentage. Now, Washington was still one of the best teams in the league. He still put up a 25-14-6 record, but those individual numbers are worrisome. He did not look good this season, and in a contract year, that's interesting. Usually players have their best seasons before their contracts are up. Holtby had his career worst season this year. However, his resume still speaks for itself. He's been one of the best goalies in the league for the past decade. He's a Stanley Cup winner. He is going to get big money in free agency. He's 30 years old. After giving Nicholas Backstrom his long-term contract, I don't think Washington has the cap space to re-sign Braden Holtby, so I don't see Holtby going back to the Capitals. Also, I think Ilya Samsonov is probably the goalie of the future for Washington, as he had a very strong season this year in his rookie year with the Capitals. I think he's going to be the starter next year, and Holtby is going to be off somewhere else. It just remains to be seen where he goes. But he, I think, is the best free agent goaltender available this summer. So there you have it, guys. My top 10 list for free agent goaltenders. We'll see where these guys end up. Obviously, I think there's going to be a lot of interest in a lot of these goaltenders, and they'll all get jobs somewhere, at least as backups, if not as starters. And there are some very good goaltenders on the list. But with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.